The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the holographic display showed another impossible scene. Rayan stood alone on the scorched plains of Draconos Prime, his arms crossed, while three battle-scarred Draken warriors, each the size of a cargo shuttle, retreated into the crimson sky. Their wings beat frantically, ancient scales glinting in the twin suns' light as they fled from a single human boy. "This makes no sense," Admiral Zexler hissed, his reptilian tongue flicking in agitation. "The Draken have conquered 17 star systems." They'd bow to no one. Era leaned forward in her observer seat, her dark eyes fixed on the projection. As the Council's youngest xenanthropologist, she'd spent 3 years studying humanity's rapid integration into galactic society. But this defied everything she knew, the recording continued. Rayan, barely 20 standard years old, walked calmly across the battlefield where an entire Draken war clutch had landed to claim the mining colony. He carried no weapons, wore no armor. Yet, with each step forward, the dragon-like aliens stepped back, their massive heads lowering in what could only be described as submission or terror. "Impossible," muttered Counselor Vray, her crystalline form refracting the chamber's light. "Humans possess no natural defenses, no telepathic abilities, no inherent dominance markers. By all metrics, they should be prey species." Era had heard this argument before. When humanity first made contact 5 years ago, the galaxy had expected them to occupy the lower rungs of the cosmic hierarchy. Physically weak compared to the Korvax, technologically primitive next to the Synthesis Collective, lacking the psychic gifts of the ethereals or the millennia of wisdom held by the ancients. And yet, here was Rayan, making apex predators flee. "I volunteer to investigate," Era said, standing abruptly. The council members turned to face her. "I'll go to Earth, interview the subject, determine what's happening." Admiral Zexler's vertical pupils narrowed. "And if this human poses a threat to galactic stability?" "Then we'll know," Era replied evenly. "But right now, we're operating on fear and speculation. Let me do my job." 3 days later, Era found herself in a modest dwelling in what humans called Nebraska, an agricultural region characterized by endless golden fields and in sky, so vast it reminded her of deep space. Rayan sat across from her at a simple wooden table, looking thoroughly uncomfortable with the attention. "I don't know why they run," he said for the third time, running a hand through his dark hair. "I just show up and they leave." But you must do something," Era pressed, her translation device rendering her words into English. "Make a gesture. Emit a pheromone. Project some kind of field we haven't detected." Rayan shook his head. "Nothing. I just look at them. Maybe think really hard about how they should leave people alone." He paused, frowning. "Actually, that sounds crazy when I say it out loud." Before Era could respond, the door opened. An elderly human woman entered, carrying a tray with steaming beverages. She moved with the careful precision of someone whose body had accumulated many years, but her eyes, those eyes were sharp as quantum blades. "Grandmother," Rayan said, brightening. "This is Era from the Galactic Council." The old woman set down the tray and studied Era with an intensity that made the xenanthropologist want to squirm. Then she smiled, warm and knowing. "So they finally sent someone to ask the right questions," she said, settling into a chair. "I wondered how long it would take." Era's primary heart skipped a beat. There was something about this woman something that made her instincts scream danger even though the grandmother appeared completely harmless. "Ma'am, do you know why the Draken flee from your grandson?" The old woman sipped her tea. "Because they remember." "Remember what?" "When we met them the first time. About 400 years ago, by your calendar." Era's mouth went dry. "That's impossible. Humanity only achieved interstellar travel 5 years ago. Your official records show." "Our official records show what we wanted them to show," the grandmother interrupted gently. "Tell me, dear, what do you know about Earth's history?" "Real history, not the sanitized version we presented to your council." Rayan was staring at his grandmother with wide eyes. "Nana, what are you talking about?" The old woman patted his hand. Your great-great-great-grandfather was part of the first expedition? Rayan, we've been watching the galaxy for a long time, waiting. Waiting for what? Era whispered, for you to be ready. The grandmother's expression hardened. The Draken were our first contact, centuries ago. They came to Earth thinking we'd be easy prey. They learned otherwise. Every human child carries that memory in their genetic code now the day we taught dragons to fear us. She stood, and suddenly the frail old woman seemed to fill the room with presence. Era's forearms trembled involuntarily. We didn't join your council because we needed protection, child. We joined because the true threat is coming and you're going to need every advantage. The Draken know this. They remember what humans become when we're pushed to our limits. The grandmother walked to the window, gazing at the peaceful fields beyond. We are not warriors by nature. We are farmers, teachers, artists. But we are also survivors. And we've learned that sometimes the kindest thing you can do for the universe is to be so terrifying that war becomes unthinkable. She turned back, her expression softening. That's why they run from Rayan. He carries the echo of what we did. What we're capable of doing again, if we must. Era stood on shaking legs. The council needs to know. The council will know when the time is right, the grandmother said firmly. For now, just tell them that humanity respectfully requests the Draken leave our settlements alone. They'll understand, and they'll comply? As Era left Earth that evening, her ship climbing toward the stars, she couldn't shake the image of that elderly human woman. Couldn't forget the certainty in her voice. The Galactic Council thought it had welcomed humanity as junior members of a cosmic community. They had no idea they'd just allied with sleeping giants. Back on Earth, Rayan turned to his grandmother. Is any of that true? She smiled mysteriously. Does it matter? The Draken believe it. And sometimes belief is more powerful than truth. But Nana, drink your tea, grandson. And remember, we humans have always been excellent storytellers. It's one of our greatest weapons. In the stars above, Era began composing her report, choosing each word carefully. Some truths, she realized, were too dangerous to speak plainly, and some species, regardless of their appearance, should never be underestimated. The dragons had learned that lesson. The rest of the galaxy would learn it soon enough. The end.